Donald Trump is furious at his 28th chief of staff, Mark Meadows, which means we're in for another edition of As the White House Turns.
Made some very big mistakes. I asked for his resignation.
I'm disappointed in the Attorney General.
Now, Donald Trump has left Walter Reed Medical Center earlier than people expected, and we still have a giant question mark as to what Donald Trump's true condition really is. He seems to be downplaying it for political reasons, whereas there's some mixed messaging coming from people closest to Donald Trump. In fact, over the weekend, there was some mixed messaging from the White House doctor versus what we were hearing from his chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Now, his doctor seemed to make it look as though Trump was doing fine. Mark Meadows, it was a different story. Meadows is now widely known inside the White House to be the unnamed source who spoke to reporters following the medical briefing Saturday, just this past weekend, and offered a more dire assessment than Navy Commander Dr. Sean Conley had given shortly before. The reporting was initially given to a pool of reporters attributed to an official familiar with the president's condition. Later, both the Associated Press and the New York Times identified that official as Meadows. So, the doctor comes out and he's like, and we'll show you the videos. Like he's doing well. He's doing well. No big deal. No big deal. Reporters are asking him, okay, has the president been put on oxygen? No, he hasn't been on oxygen today. Okay, but was he on oxygen earlier? No, he's doing fine. Everything's great. Don't worry about it. Totally like downplaying what's going on. And then Meadows gave a much more dire assessment. So now Trump is apparently angry with Mark Meadows for telling the American people the truth about his condition and not going along with this downplaying message, attempting to make Trump seem like the strong president who's invincible, even though he's in his 70s and coronavirus is something that would negatively impact him. Like his demographic is the one that's most vulnerable to the virus.
Yeah, I assume you're talking about the orange demographic, and they have been devastated in this coronavirus situation. Okay, so look, to give you a sense of how panicked the Republicans are over the election, today John Cornyn, running for re-election in Senate in Texas, the number 2 senator for the Republicans in the whole country, came out and defied Donald Trump and said he got out over his skis on coronavirus, exposed himself too much. But most interestingly, he said the most important thing you have to do is be honest with the American people, thereby implying that the president keeps lying. Okay. Now, guys like Cornyn back guys like Mark Meadows because they think traditional politics is, look, we play around the edges, and we change the framing, we change the context, we change the words, we do all these sophisticated ways of lying. But when you just flat out say something that's wrong about your medical condition, they're gonna find out, you knucklehead. And so stop lying in obvious ways and ruining it for all of us. Cornyn is worried about his reelection. We told you last week, the governor of Texas changed the rules on where you could submit mail-in voting because they're worried not just about Trump losing Texas, which is unbelievable, but Cornyn losing his Senate seat. That's how worried they are.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And keep in mind that it's not just about Donald Trump's condition. We're talking about a highly contagious virus, a virus that he's exposed so many other people to, including over the weekend through some of the, some of the stunts he pulled, which we'll talk about later. But anyone who goes against Donald Trump's lies or calls him out publicly will have to deal with his fury later. And based on what sources have told CNN, people are concerned about what Trump is going to do to Meadows as soon as he has an opportunity to come off the steroids he's on. So according to one source, actually Mark Meadows, let me tell you what he said to reporters. The president's vitals over the last 24 hours were very concerning, and the next 48 hours will be critical in terms of his care. We're still not on a clear path to full recovery. So that is what he told reporters on Saturday. On that same day, we got a very different message from his doctor. And as a result, Jim Acosta is reporting that a separate White House official confirmed Trump is unhappy with Meadows, as the chief of staff is now viewed by Trump advisors as having damaged the credibility of the current medical briefings on the president's bout with the coronavirus. And I want to give you a little taste of what the doctor's messaging looked like and sounded like over the weekend, and just how different it was from what we just read from Mark Meadows' statement. Take a look.
Receiving no, he has not received any supplemental oxygen.
He's not on oxygen right now, that's right.
He has not received any at all?
He's not needed any this morning, today at all. That's right.
If we just put you down on one thing, has he ever been on supplemental oxygen?
Right now, he is not on oxygen.
I know you keep saying right now, but should we read into the fact that he had been previously?
Yesterday and today, he was not on oxygen.
So he has not been on it during his COVID treatment?
He's not on oxygen right now.
And Cenk, even though we did get mixed messaging over the weekend, I think even by watching that video, it's pretty clear that Trump isn't doing as well as he wants the public to think he's doing, right? I mean, his doctor could barely keep a straight face while answering those questions. And again, what he was trying to say does conflict with what his own chief of staff, Mark Meadows, was saying about Trump's condition.
Okay, I have an important point to make about that at the end here, but in answering your question, I actually want to go to one of our members as well. So tyt.com/join, and we read your comments as part of the show. Tatiana in Japan asked, honest question, was Meadows telling the truth, or is he used to lying for Trump, that he lied to make Trump seem much sicker than he is? This is especially concerning if everyone is lying and Trump doesn't actually have COVID. No, he has COVID. There are too many people involved to maintain that level of a lie. No, that's point one. Point two is Meadows lying instead? No, because Trump is furious with him. So he was not lying on behalf of Donald Trump. Secondly, as Anna just showed you, and the video clearly speaks for itself, the doctor's the one that's lying. And he's put in an awful position. And he said, the next day after the video you just watched, he came out and said, the things we said were not necessarily untrue, or something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
And so it's super clear, it's the doctor who's lying. And look, I know he's in a terrible spot because Trump will probably replace him with a different doctor if he doesn't lie on his behalf. But you are a doctor, you're not under, you shouldn't lie on behalf of your patient, even if your patient's the president. So I know he's in a tough spot. Speaking of members, these are folks who just signed up on YouTube. Kevin Thompson, Shells, Abidifo Whimsy, there's no way you say that. Glennial Luster, Jackie Sutton, Queen Moniker, John Bickford, Bill Basseri, Ms. T Velocity, T Time 98, Mark Parson, and Brett Whitaker. Hit the join button below. These are all folks who did that in the middle of this segment. Now, I want to go back to Mark Meadows. Guys, I've now read a number of stories where he's deeply frustrated. Just like we told you before in another As the White House Turns segment, no one believes that Donald Trump is as stupid and petulant and irrational and mean as he actually is. Even the deepest supporters he has, the right-wing guys, they go in, they go, no, he's not that. I know he's dumb, but he's not that dumb. I know he's mean, but he's not that mean. He's not gonna do it to me, right? And Mark Meadows walks in, boom, right away. And you could tell, even when the doctor was talking on the last day, Mark Meadows, there's a great picture of Mark Meadows with his head down like this, okay? Which perfectly summarizes his existence in the Trump White House. Everything he's telling folks behind the scenes is, what have I gotten myself into? The guy's basically a lunatic. And so to be fair, there are no direct quotes like that about him being Mark Meadows calling Trump a lunatic. I want to be clear about that. But based on his quotes, that's my interpretation of what he's saying, because he's clearly deeply frustrated that he cannot get the president to tell the truth at all, or to have a coherent strategy which would help the Republican Party at all. And last comment is from Cable Plasky using Super Chat. I'm gonna miss As the White House Turns when Trump loses. It's my favorite show.
Well, don't worry. Brett cooked something up to take its place, and I think you guys are gonna love it. And maybe it's gonna premiere on this show today. We'll see. But I do want to mention one other thing. Remember, they tried literally every experimental medication or treatment on Donald Trump while he was in the hospital. And even though he's leaving the hospital today because he insisted on it, he's going to the White House where he's going to have treatment around the clock. There's a clinic within the White House. There are doctors within the White House. So it's not as though he's some average citizen who's gonna leave the hospital and not necessarily even have the option to go back, right? Without doctors and people taking care of him at home. He's gonna be taken care of. He's still gonna receive the medical treatment that he needs. Just don't let him make you think that coronavirus is no big deal, because he's already begun with that kind of messaging. And it's incredibly damaging to people who do not get the same type of healthcare treatment that Donald Trump is getting right now.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.